Hello, welcome and good morning to you all. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. You join us on this Tuesday morning here in the UK for today's webinar, Thinking of Entering the RoSPA Awards for the First Time, How We Approach the Journey. I'm delighted to be able to kind of host and chair the session with you today. My name is Matt Cryer and I'm the Standards Manager here at RoSPA, looking after the RoSPA Awards assessment processes and the question sets that underpin the scheme that we're either familiar with or considering entering for the first time in the 2024 round. In 2023, the RoSPA Awards is one of the most prestigious and recognised health and safety award schemes in the world, with over 2,000, almost 2,000 entries every year coming from nearly 50 different countries, and we reckon a reach of around 7 million employees and kind of stakeholders within those organisations. So the Health and Safety Awards are a key part of the annual calendar for entrants here in the UK, but also for kind of a growing number of international teams and companies who've also grown to understand the reflective entry process and the value that plays in developing and in kind of continuously improving our health and safety management systems. As you can see on the screen here today, I'm delighted to be joined by one of our 2023 first-time entrants. Carmen is joining us from Viking Office UK and Ireland. Carmen is Health and Safety Manager at Viking Office UK and Ireland, and she's worked there since 2018, and she was appointed into her current role in 2022. Carmen puts safety at the forefront of Viking's agenda in the UK and Ireland, and in 2023 they received their RoSPA Silver Achievement Award, which verifies, they're going very much in the right direction. They've done a great achievement for a first year of entry, so congratulations on that, Carmen. Carmen's kind of striving as a next step to look for kind of a potential gold award in 2024. So we're going to talk a little bit about what the processes are for kind of making that step up. Also, we're joined by Alex Petrie from CBES Limited. Alex is HSEQ advisor, and he's worked within the construction engineering industry for over 16 years. He's helped the business successfully attain RoSPA Gold Awards throughout the time he's been with them. Alex was appointed as an awards mentor for Carmen and Viking as the awards ambassador who will be kind of assisting them with their submission. We'll talk a little bit more about the ambassador kind of role and how Alex has been working as a mentor to support entrants this year. So today, Carmen is going to be kind of recounting her experiences as a first-time award entrant, which is a really kind of helpful perspective to kind of look at the challenges that you faced and how you've kind of overcome them, and a little bit more thinking about Viking's strategic approach to health and safety and some of the standout, more triumphant moments that have come through the last year. So Alex is going to talk a bit more then about the mentoring, how he's kind of advised Viking as first-time entrants. And hopefully we're going to get some kind of useful takeaways from that that will be able to be applied to your own entry process for 2024. So that's kind of who we've got with us in a nutshell here. So I welcome to you both, and thank you again for taking the time, Carmen and Alex. If any of your logged in attendees today have any questions for Carmen and Alex, you can put those to us via the chat box. And we'll look to respond to as many of those as we can fit in towards the end of the session. But to start with, we're going to have a bit of a conversation between the three of us today. If anybody has any kind of issues with connection or sound at all today, just be aware that we are recording today's session and we'll be sharing it after the session has been completed via our membership platform, where it will be up and available to access on demand within the next 48 hours. So thank you, Carmen. I'd like to make a start to our discussion with yourself, if that's okay. I wonder if you could give us some insight and background information onto why Viking chose to enter the RoSPA Awards for the first time this year.
Yeah, so thank you for that lovely introduction. We've worked hard, as you said, on developing our Safety First and All the Time initiative when I started this role in 2022. Which was a commitment to our sites and our colleagues that safety is at the forefront of what we do. The RoSPA Awards are a prestigious recognition of that commitment and are great to be a part of. our managing director actually was the driving force behind getting the entry submitted, because he has experienced awards and the value of those in previous organisations. So it was on his agenda when he joined Viking. So it was on his agenda when he spoke to me and said, right, this is how we're going to push that forward.
That's great. I think that's interesting that you kind of you say that was, you know, you got really good drive and support from the management. I think for some of us in some organizations, I think there can be a challenge in kind of educating back in the opposite direction, but that's fantastic that you kind of had a head start on that process. So thinking on your submission process, Carmen, from doing the entry submission in the Achievement Award, it was you entered, wasn't it?
It was.
For the first time. How did you find that? Were there any kind of sections that you kind of struggled with, or that you found more challenging than others?
It's simple. So anyone who's looking to sign up for the first time, it is a really simple process, and it's not that daunting. Obviously, there are a few questions that you may think you're going to struggle with, but I think if anyone's passionate about what they do, they'll always struggle because they'll overcomplicate it before they go down and actually think, right, okay, we've got this. And also the instructions were easy to follow, and there's always someone at the end of an email should you have any queries as well. So we didn't find any issues at all, and I'm pretty 100% sure that no one else will, really.
Right. I mean, so in terms of the, you know, the different sections in the questions that you came across, did you find they were kind of all things that you could kind of easily tap into from, you know, aspects of your existing management system?
Yeah, we're certified to ISO 45001 anyway, so a lot of the questions run pretty much like the requirements of that, really. So we, and with the help of Alex as well, looked at those questions, bullet pointed them, the answers that we wanted to give before going on to that detail, which gave us that reflection before applying all the detail, just to make sure that the answers we were given were relevant to that question.
That's really helpful. I think it's useful you mentioned the reflective element there as well. I think so something we've kind of deliberately built into the awards process is the fact that, you know, we're not just kind of putting together a paper exercise or a tick box exercise for answering the questions, but we really want those who are participating to be able to, I think, work, you know, the processes of looking back and considering and seeing what's gone well, maybe what needs improving, and kind of working that into the value of the process. I think that's really important, and I'm pleased you've kind of, that's resonated with you as well. So Carmen, you achieved a silver grade this year, which is fantastic as a first time entrant. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What impact has that kind of had for your organisation, and, you know, what benefit have you seen from that?
Personally, sitting at the awards table in London in July, I think it was, I've now got pressure to get gold. So that is that's on me. And then a sense of achievement personally as well. We often think we're doing a good job, but to get an endorsement with an award from RoSPA is fantastic, obviously. And then that spread through the company as a whole. There was a lot of people, teams, individuals involved in that. So it wasn't just an individual award, it was a collaborative award, which is what we're trying to achieve. And, you know, it's from everybody. So that was really good. And then from a company and an organisation point of view, looking outwards, you know, our sales and customer service team, they can shout from the rooftops that we have got this award, and then it gives that confidence to the clients that we deliver their products and the services we offer safely. So yeah, and then finally, just I'm a big advocate for changing the opinion of health and safety, so putting it on that positive pedestal rather than, you know, the red tape and the like kind of holding things back, if you like. So yeah, putting it on that positive pedestal, it's been really nice, and it's been a refreshing change actually.
Fantastic. Can I ask you kind of just one more quick question, Carmen? It wasn't on the original list, but I hope you don't mind me doing it. Obviously this has kind of been a new process for yourself as well as the organisation. Have you kind of found it useful for you kind of personally in terms of your kind of own growth as a health and safety professional?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the questions and the reflection that I've already talked about, but when you're part of RoSPA and you go on to those awards evenings, I got to meet Alex, who has won those awards many times, so that was also a benefit of it. But mixing with people in the health and safety industry from all different types of organisations, that's been really positive for me because I'm learning still. I think everybody in the profession is still learning every day. So yeah, it's a real positive, and I'm looking forward to submitting the next one.
That's fantastic. Yeah, well, make sure you're recording it against your CPD and the like for your development as well. But that's fantastic. They're really helpful reflections, Carmen. We'll come back to you in a few moments if that's okay. But thank you for your thoughts. Alex, I'd like to bring you in at this point, if that's okay. So I'm sure you'll agree, Viking have done a great achievement for their first year of entry. And you've been able to kind of give them a little bit of support through that process, haven't you? So Alex is part of our awards ambassador network. So we have a network internationally of kind of experienced health and safety professionals who are both well experienced in the industries they're working in and also have good experience of entering the RoSPA awards as well. And within that ambassador program, we are offering the opportunity for RoSPA members to be mentored and to have kind of advice and feedback on their considerations to do with the entry process. Alex, I wonder if you can tell us a little bit about the arrangements that you had and worked together with Viking on.
Yeah, sure. So we wanted it to be, well, actually I wanted it to be a bit more of a collaborative approach really, and so got in touch with Carmen, a quick call, just really to establish what sort of assistance that they would need. I think it'd be very, I think the beauty of the mentoring scheme is that you can put people in touch, and it's really a case of helping where we can. So we're able to give a bit of support based on the particular areas that Carmen was looking for assistance on. So I don't think it wasn't the full application. It was, I think, a few parts of it, and just in general, I suppose, structure and answers and so on, that we were able to get a discussion about, and hopefully it helped. I'm sure it was an absolutely fantastic result, to the first time getting there at silver level. So no, it was fantastic to be able to be in a position to help out there.
Yeah, that's great. We really value your kind of giving your time to the process as well, Alex. It's really helpful. So I think we know there's kind of, there's a varying degree to which people have experience of the scheme and to the different ways that kind of mentors and mentees kind of go about these relationships. People have different goals. I think, Carmen, you've mentioned that you've kind of been tasked with targeting hopefully a gold award potentially in the 2024 round. By kind of applying some of your learning from entering in 2023. So in terms of kind of progressing on that journey, Alex, I wonder if you've got any hints or tips for Viking, and indeed any others who may be in a similar position, as to how they kind of progress and kind of move onwards and upwards.
Sure. Well, I think, to be honest, it's an approach that we would take within CBES, and that we would look at developing our successes. So, this response to this question is really for anybody looking at progressing their award submission. But look at your successes, pick on what you do really well within your own organisation, and absolutely sell that. I think you want to be perhaps looking at the relationship between your kind of high-level policy, if you like, and then how that leads to your operational results. How does the way the organisation set up actually, deliver something? It provides a bit of context, I would think, to the assessor, and that they can see how the organisation's got into the results that they're presenting. I think be strict with the evidence that you submit, ensure that it's relevant and it supports the narrative. And I think one of the challenges that I have is to keep the word count within the limit. So I keep getting being told to apply a bit more brevity to my answer, and I think that would be something that would be good advice for anybody looking to progress the award category. So I think be succinct with it. Don't absolutely knacker your word count by over explaining elements. Keep the evidence in line with it, and that should, by applying those two principles, should then help you get to the next level. But by keeping it relevant and celebrating those successes, look where you do the best work, look and absolutely showcase that.
That's really helpful advice. I think we sometimes need to be better practiced at kind of blowing our own trumpet, so to speak, and talking about those things that we're really successful at. I think it's interesting in terms of how we kind of communicate what we're doing as organisations within our entries. I think one kind of challenge that I think there is we can be very familiar with how we kind of explain and talk about things internally to our colleagues and between our departments. But sometimes we need to take a slightly different voicing when it comes to explaining that to somebody outside. So I think that's some feedback for all of you kind of listening in, starting to consider the entry process for 2024 is how you kind of explain your systems to somebody who's really never come across your organisation before and how you operate. So even if you're entering an achievement award for the 10th time in a row, we will be kind of looking at your 2024 entry kind of in isolation. So there's no presumptions made as to what's gone before. We really want to kind of see how you've kind of delivered those systems in the last calendar year. And I think you made some really useful points there, Alex, about kind of how you evidence that narrative that you make as well. So I think it's important we can see, what your policies are, how those policies kind of lead, into the planning for the delivery of your safety management systems. And then also kind of crucially, something, Carmen, which came over really well in Viking's entry was those worked evidence examples. So I think we use kind of worked evidence as a term quite often, but just to really kind of unpack in a bit more detail what we mean by that. So that's those everyday kind of documents that are generated through your day-to-day management that help us see that those systems that you've got in place, so your plans, your policies, your procedures, they're all being effectively implemented and doing essentially what they're intended to do. So that's kind of they're kind of the kind of the gold standards of evidence, that we can see those different stages, we can see your preparation, we can see your implementation as well. And then in terms of how you work that into an entry narrative, I think you always want to be making sure that you're emphasizing quality over quantity, of course, but really make sure that you unpack things in suitable detail and make use of the word count available. I know some of us will find it, a struggle to keep the words down. But that's also part of the entry challenge, I think. But really making sure you're not leaving kind of blocks and paragraphs of text that don't have supporting examples. Again, you can use up to 8 different evidence examples unique to each section on the achievement award. So really consider making the most of that, because those who tend to be scoring at the highest levels will be consistently doing that. Alex, just I think you also kind of have the perspective of an organisation that's gone in for the industry sector level as well with CBES, and you've seen some kind of great success in what we kind of consider to be those competitive categories as well. So where we look to kind of assign the best within an industry sector. I wonder if you've got any thoughts on how you would approach that if you were an entrant that's kind of been doing the achievement award and you're looking to kind of make a step up to the industry sector category. How you might kind of stand out and how you might, I guess, that thing of blowing your own trumpet and singing your praises effectively.
Sure, I think similar. There's a parallel actually within our own business to Carmen here, and where our current managing director used to be the head of the safety team, and they really pushed us to go into industry sector, and rather than achievement. And I think that was part of a drive just to, I suppose, push us into finding improvement within the organisation. So I think if there's any organisations out there going through the achievement awards, push yourself, go for the industry sector, and use it as an opportunity to, kind of reflect on where you've been, what you're currently doing, and perhaps identify where there are some improvements. I think if there's any organisation out there that is actively looking to improve, actively pushing themselves and how they work and the management systems and so on, then you'll find an opportunity to showcase that within the industry sector awards scheme, and hopefully you would get some recognition of that. I think for ourselves, it allows us to, we kind of look to build on each of our entries year on year to, like, are we demonstrating that continual improvement? Are we pushing ourselves wherever we can? And really, I think the beauty of the award, the industry sector award scheme, and it seeks to recognise those industry leaders and those organisations that are at pushing the boundary at the forefront, and really showcasing what successful health and safety management looks like. So I think that's kind of, I'm not sure if that actually answers the question fully.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. I think you've kind of captured the essence of that. It's kind of, there's a lot of stuff within, I think, those that we see who are successful at the industry sector that kind of really focuses on that continuous improvement mindset. And I think that's quite, again, this is a useful thing in the reflective process. So as to how the awards can help drive a continual improvement mindset. So I think if you're kind of coming to an entry, returning, the following year, and that you're able to say maybe largely the same things as you did in the previous year, I think that might be a good, a good stimulus for thinking, okay, that's good, it's still working, but what can we be doing to push forward? What can we be doing to improve next? And I think a lot of the industry sector applications also, we see people there consistently going above and beyond what we would kind of consider to be expected standards across the entry. We're demonstrating good innovation, we're demonstrating good kind of thought leadership. And I think something that RoSPA are keen to see entrants doing as well is those who have got those skills, seeing how you're taking them beyond the boundaries of your own organisation as well. And I think they're all kind of very much distinctives that we see at that level. That's really helpful to get those reflections from you, as an entrant as well as a mentor on that. We've got a few questions coming in on the chat, so I think we'll just see if we can work a couple of those in now as we go through. Carmen, if I can kind of take one to you to start with. So I've got a question coming in from one of our attendees asking about how long it took you to complete your submission. So bearing in mind that this was your first time of doing this, and it may, that may differ when you're more familiar returning, but how long would you say it kind of took you to put a submission together this year?
It's hard to describe now because it seems so long ago. I think the last week before submission was where we focused the majority of our time. So we spread it over, I think we started December time, and then just worked slowly through it to take that pressure off. So my advice, if anyone's entering for the first time, would be get the questions, get the bullet points, and then assign your time to that, how much you would want to spend on that. So if you've got loads of bullet points, it possibly means that you haven't got to look around for your answers, so it'll probably take you less time. But those ones that maybe you feel you need to work on, assign a little bit more time to that. So I would say if I was to clump it all together, we probably took about 3 weeks just to put it all together. Now, companies will do that faster. there's not that many of us here to do that, so it took us a little bit longer. But yeah, I'd say if you're going to assign some time to it, probably we took about 3 weeks.
Okay, that's really helpful. And did you kind of split up that preparation around your team, maybe kind of looking at different questions between you, or did you kind of do it centrally?
It kind of all fell to me. However, once the bulk of it was done, then I sent it out and got review from others as well. It's going to be a little bit different this year. I've already told the team that it's coming to them to help from the start, just to push that collaboration just that little bit further. Because, like I said, you know, right at the beginning, it's a team effort. It's about the team. They need to get that kind of sense of achievement that I did. So I want to push that out so it makes them work harder, probably, towards the goals that we've got.
That's a really good approach. That's a really good approach, I think. Do you do similar to that yourself, Alex, or when you put yours together?
Yeah, pretty much. You know, I think, you know, if we can use the previous year's submissions a bit of a handrail, but then it's just exactly that. It's you know, I think you can know the areas where, like you said earlier on, where there've been changes, there's been perhaps improvements being driven, and so they're easier, I suppose, to then go in and review and rewrite. Where there's maybe there's not been as many developments and maybe don't have as many bullet points to put in there, then that's you tend to spend a wee bit kind of longer, a bit of introspection on those and then use it as an opportunity to then look at, well, should we change that process, or is it well established, and have we taken it as far as we can? So yeah, a bit of a challenge in there for coming in from that point, from a repeated, you know, application stage, you know.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think I have a couple of questions in on the chat in terms of, I think, whether there are kind of sections of the questionnaire that are kind of more important or more critical, and also another question on kind of any sections that you may have found more difficult than others in terms of finding kind of suitable evidence. I wonder if I could kind of, well, if I address the first one, in fact, in terms of, you know, the kind of importance of each of the questions. So that the main kind of marked areas of the submission are those 10 key questions that look at the different aspects of your health and safety management system. I think it's important that across those, you're taking kind of a similarly consistent approach to providing, you know, a good, clear narrative and good, thorough evidence across those sections. You'll find on each of the sections as entrants, when you come to the entry process, that there'll be bullet points on screen and also, you know, detailed information in the guidance notes that help you kind of focus on the right direction for the individual question response. And I think do keep that as a kind of a touch point in mind as you prepare your question and as you write and tweak it to make sure that you're still kind of in line with that original scope. Because there are also some sections later on that kind of may have kind of similar but slightly different themes, and it's important that you're making sure you attract the right marks in the right areas. Just on that evidence point, did either of you kind of find, or do either of you find any of the sections kind of a bit more difficult? Carmen, could you just have a quick reflect on that one?
To me, they're all difficult, and that's just because we want to showcase everything that we've got, and it's kind of trying to find the ones that are the most relevant to those questions. So they are difficult because you want to showcase everything that you do, and that's what I found difficult. I think if your organisation is committed to health and safety, the questions won't be difficult. It will just be piecing your evidence to those questions, because some of the evidence you won't use because it might not be relevant to any of the questions within this submission. But yeah, it shouldn't be too difficult.
I think it's worth saying that, you know, that evidence, it's not anything kind of bespoke or special, is it? It's kind of things that you're kind of pulling and you're bringing from your everyday work. So, and I guess that's why it's kind of helpful as a process to kind of drive, you know, year-on-year improvements, because, you know, if there's something that maybe you can't evidence, maybe that's helpful as an area to focus on, not just in the awards, but, you know, in your wider health and safety management context. Alex, have you got any thoughts on that? Maybe again from the
I was just thinking there,
perspective, or?
Yeah, I was just thinking there about, you know, how we've benefited as an organisation from the awards, and actually, I think early on it was was difficult to get the momentum with the continual improvement. So earlier on in our kind of awards journey, if you like, I found it difficult to kind of be, recording really where we've improved, what have we done differently, because it just felt on the surface that actually, well, what has changed in that 12-month period? The years are passing quite quickly. We were able to get a bit of momentum with it and make a few changes with this sort of mindset. I think now we've got a fairly mature system. I think it's becomes a bit more challenging to then say, well, how have those elements of our management system, developed and matured and improved, and so there's a bit there for us to look at how we present what we present, and ensuring that we are, answering the question in full, but also, where we can, using the awards as an opportunity to reflect on what we do. So I think that's probably the key challenge for within parts of the application for us. Yeah,
I think depending on where we are in the process and what we're aiming for, I think those challenges.
Oh, of course,
challenges vary, don't they, greatly? And I think you've overcome a great challenge this year, Carmen, in terms of getting in that first entry. And yeah, likewise, Alex. We wish you all the best with your continued progress and success.
Thank you.
I'm just going to answer one last question we've had come in on the chat, and then we're going to wrap things up for this morning. So thank you everyone that's kind of taken the time to listen in on our conversation together. We've got someone kind of asking, what do I need to do as a first time entrant considering entering in this year for the first time, and what is the process? Well, for starters, you'll need to head over to RoSPA.com/awards, where you can find information on all those kind of main categories, and your award journey starts with your kind of initial registration, following which you would get access to kind of the question sets and the entry guides, and they will then kind of talk you through step by step the rest of the process. And for our kind of first entry phase this year, you would then have up until the 24th of January in the new year to pull your entry submission together and get that submitted, and that's all done via a secure online portal. So you can find all that information and more on the main RoSPA Awards web pages. We've also kind of got some examples of the questions you're going to come across, as well as some help guides as well. And there's also a whole suite of previous webinars and resources that are available to members on the My RoSPA pages. So we'd encourage you to tap into that. And you can also put questions kind of direct to the award standards team through the member portal as well. So again, that's that's a resource that's kind of exclusive on the membership side. If you kind of have any kind of specific questions or advice, that you want more detail on the entry process. So I think that we've just gone over 11:30, but we're at the end of today's session. And thank you so much for your contributions, Carmen and Alex. They've been really valuable, I think. We do hope that if any of you put questions into the chat today, we've managed to answer as many of those as possible. If we haven't gotten round to your response, do rest assured we'll follow up with you via email after the session, as we always do. If not, you can also reach out with a query to the awards team via awards@rospa.com, and we'll be happy to assist you through that route as well. So this webinar, along with the other two in the series, are going to be available as recordings that are uploaded to the member zone on the RoSPA website. And you can use that platform, and please do use that platform and the resources to support your considerations in the entry process ahead of the 2024 round awards. And just a reminder that registration process is kind of now live and open for 2024. So another benefit of registering early, particularly if you're a first-time entrant, it maximizes that preparation time, and it maximizes the time you can spend writing your entry. So best of luck to all of those of you listening in who are kind of going for an entry in 2024, and we look forward to kind of communicating with you if you require some further support and advice. Thank you for your time today, and we see you all again soon. Goodbye.